It is Thursday, November 21st, and I'm going to keep going. It was just darn chilly this morning. It got down to, it was less than 50. I think it was about 48 here for a while. So it's a little later in the day. What time is it? It's about 11, almost 11:30 in the morning. And it's nice out here now. It's up about 70, so it's good. What I'm working on today, I need to get this under control. I have removed this brace, and you know, this is still fairly sturdy, and by the time I put that faceplate, that dash back in here, it probably would just be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and brace it up here somehow, just to make sure. I don't want to risk having this be a problem. So we will pursue bracing that up. I've already cleaned it out a little bit. It was pretty filthy in there. I'm going to have to drill another hole, probably right there, to run some additional wires through. So I only did a ½ inch hole there before, and that was okay for the initial loom, but I've got at least 4 more wires that's going to have to go through there. So anyway, that's the plan for now. Oh, the dash, I had glued in some extra veneer in some places where it was missing, and it's about, it's hard to tell for sure, but it's pretty shiny. I got about 4 coats of polyurethane on it, and when this is dried out, completely cured later on today, I will sand this down lightly and put the final coat on it, and then it should be ready to go back in there. Hopefully, I got to do some modifications here in the middle to the instrumentation, but anyway, that's where we're at. The quick update, it's still Thursday. I can't believe this took all friggin' day, but I took 2 pieces of aluminum angle and split it and folded it up here, and I did the same on the top. There you go. So this is bolted in place, this is bolted in place, and tomorrow, I'm tired. Tomorrow I want to cut some plywood that's going to go in here, and it's going to be fastened here and segregate this area so that we don't get stuff showing up in there. That shouldn't be. Just all it needs to be in there is some wiring. The parts did show up today for the strobe light is here, the replacement switches for the forward reverse selector, and the turn signal kit is here. So more to do, but tomorrow I want to finish this one way or another. I want to finish this area so that I can work on this. Like I said, I need to drill another hole here for some additional wiring to come through, and then of course put grommets in it there. Once I've got it ready to actually start reassembling, then it should go pretty quick. Yeah, hooking these wires up isn't going to take very long at all, but I got to get the compartment prepared. So that's where we're at. All right, I'm doing an update today on my phone instead of my Olympus camera, because I'm too lazy to go get my other camera. Been into it for a while here. This is Friday, the whatever of November, the day after the last one I recorded. And I got the frame. I opted against the plywood. I don't really have, all I got is fairly thick plywood, like ½ inch, and I don't want to take up all that room. A 1/4 inch would be perfect if the owner wants some kind of separation in here. He can add that or come and bring it back later, and I'll finish it up or something. But anyway, I got the new hole drilled, and there's a grommet, actually 2 grommets in here. There's 2 layers of metal, so I got one down below, and I got this one here, just like this one is down in where it belongs now. So 2 on each hole. I got the turn signal stuff here I'm going to start installing. First I'm going to wire up, get the headlights working, then I'm going to get the horn working. That'll leave 1 power wire for this arrangement, because they've got what they provided for power wires and stuff is nowhere. It just won't work. So I'll fix it. I'll make it work. But anyway, that part went, I mean, it took forever, but it's very sturdy. I got it bolted and sheet metal screws in here, and sheet metal screws top and bottom here, so it's very rigid. And I have the final coat of polyurethane on this. It's smoothed out. I did a light sanding on it this morning and put another coat on here. It's been out curing in the sun. Yeah, it's a little cupped, but compared to what was brought to me in the first place with a bunch of missing veneer and things, it's, oh yeah, yes. The interstate's just half a mile down the road here, so it's also known as the Indy 500. Anyway, next is I'm going to begin wiring, actually making connections for the headlights, horn, and the turn signals, and get that all installed. So I doubt it'll happen today, because I'm discovering that the older I get, the less it gets done in a given time. So I'll go until I feel I should stop, and then I'll stop there. End of update. Well, you know, my voice isn't working all that great still, but we're going to give this a try. I wanted to talk briefly about, briefly is a kind of a catchphrase. I want to talk about the basic wiring structure in this upgrade that I did. This picture is not entirely complete. There was a little bit that transpired after this, but this was late in the game, so it's pretty close to how things left here and went back to the owner. And so what we're seeing here in general is, let me bump this up so you can see my hand. See my hand? The ground bus for all of the where the ground side, negative side was brought together, and you can see shorting links going across this side overall. So all of these are essentially the same point. So I'm not even going to discuss grounds anymore, but we'll follow the plus side. When the key switch is turned, this is an automotive style relay. It's just like what you would have in your vehicle, except it operates on 36 volts rather than 12 volts. And that's what it's rated for. When it energizes, the power consumed by the relay to keep it energized is tiny. I mean, it just doesn't take much at all to keep it energized, and it's designed to do that. So there's no issues with this being energized for long periods of time. But when that happens, this 36 volt voltage comes in here and is supplied through this relay. You can kind of follow it around in this red wire. This red wire right here goes through this WAGO, and or a knockoff version thereof. Anyway, it goes through, it's fused, goes into the voltage converter, also known as a buck converter. And this takes the 36 volt pack voltage and converts it to 12 volts. And I think I measured this one. It does a consistent like 12.2, 12.3, something like that. And even when it's under a load, it does a really good job of maintaining that voltage. So I never saw it go. I had pretty much everything turned on and used at the same time during one stage of testing, and it never dropped below 12 volts. It was 12.1, I think, is the lowest it ever went. Anyway, so then this is supplied to, you can follow it down, and it comes down to this yellow wire. is the 12 volt output. Comes down this wire here and is supplied to the fuse block. Fuse block here, there are fuses for these 3 circuits here. These terminals are exposed, but unless there's a fuse installed, they're not live. They're just inert pieces, bits of metal out there. So this is just a 6 circuit typical generic fuse block. In the future, I want to try to use the ones that also includes the common grounds on the same fuse block. It's just for a smaller footprint overall, more more effective use or efficient use of space. But anyway, then each of these are individually fused. I did a current draw test on each device, the headlights, taillights, and on the horn, which ended up taking a lot less current than I thought it would. So it got fused very lightly. I think it's like a 1 or 2 amp, something like that. The headlights has got I think there's a 5 amp in there. And the turn signals, I think, is about the same. I don't remember now. I'm doing this like a month and a half after I did the job. But anyway, it wasn't needed to be a very high amperage, but they're all fused and in place. So that's essentially how this went. I used these Wagos. Actually, these are a knockoff version of those, because Wago, although they're an excellent product, they're in my world they're way overpriced. And these do the job great. I've used these for quite a long while, and I've never had an issue with them. So they're fine. And these are all fairly generic items in here. But that's how the 12 volt system, I had cut all of the strangeness out of the system as far as how it was wired previously. One thing you run into on these upgrades is many times you will see where somebody in the past has wired back and just gone across a couple of their 6 volt batteries to get 12 volts. And what that does is it puts more drain on those specific batteries, and it will kill those. They'll be the first ones to die out of the system. And lithium is really no different. They're a little more tolerant to that, but still, you don't want to do that. So you keep the voltages separate. You keep your pack voltage at 36 volts or 48 volts or whatever your normal cart values are, the design of it, and then you separate out the 12 volt side and keep that separate over here. And this relay right here is how that happens. So that's what I did in this case. That's what I've done in every case with the ones that I've upgraded. I've taken a little bit different approach in each case, but every one of them uses isolation this way via a relay and a voltage converter. So you don't have to worry about burning out headlights or overpowering anything that way. I should mention, these of course are your output wires. This one goes into the loom, goes up to the dash where the horn is connected and the headlights are connected, and also provides power to the turn signals. This was taken at a stage where I hadn't quite finished the turn signal part, but it ended up going quite well. And then this blue wire comes back in up here. Go up here and look at it. The blue wire is coming back from the dash and goes out to power up the taillights. So that's what this one's for. And I think that's all I've got for this.